Alright, so basically today we're going to drill a few spot welds up here. The rest of them I'm gonna crawl underneath and get the rest of them there. Same goes for here. There's a few spot welds that we're gonna do on the front just to give us a good clamping force. I'll have to get my big C-clamp to clamp this because it is a little high right there, no big deal. But then we're gonna go through, sand all this off, get it smoothed out more, apply some body filler, and we'll probably start sanding on this whole pillar here and back here. That way tomorrow I can hammer and dolly a lot of these little dents out back here and pull a few of them. But let's get started on that. Alright, now that we got all those here taken care of, we're going to grind these down, knock the tops off of these ones, and the same thing with down there. Now that we have the top stock down and all of our spot welds grinded down smooth, we're going to go through, we're going to sand everywhere. We're going to sand the whole cab corner area, and then we're going to sand the top of this rocker, this seam over here, that seam. We're going to sand up farther too because of the crap primer on here. But then once we do that, we'll clean it off and then we'll start applying body filler. Now I'm going to be using 80 grit mainly because there's multiple layers of paint on this thing, but also body filler requires a good bond. So 80 grit really is the go-to for it. I know some fillers will recommend like 120 and stuff, 80 to 120, so I just always use 80. Doesn't fail that way. Go ahead and pull these off because all this has to be sanded anyways. Now we're just going to finish cleaning this up here. We're going to sand quite a bit of ways up here for our body filler. I mean, it's pretty smooth, it just needs a skim coat. But we're just going to go ahead and get this old primer knocked off. Always make sure your sandpaper stays gritty. It's not something fun to do when you realize too late that your sandpaper is worn out. So always double check your sandpaper. We do have a slight high spot right here. And that's what I get for not using the blowgun when welding. So now I'm just going to try to get this high spot out. It is right there along that weld seam. And I don't want to mess up the shape of this upper portion here. I just want to get just that high spot. Just like that. We're probably going to go ahead and clean up this seam sealer up through here. I'm going to be putting all new seam sealer on it anyways, but we're going to clean it up through here so that way when we go to body fill this, it doesn't interfere, because we're going to skim coat it all the way from here all the way down, just so that way we can get this nice and perfect the whole entire way. Alright, so I decided to just go ahead and sand this whole pillar. I shrunk it right here. I don't have a torch, so I just put some spot welds and then hit it with the air compressor, pull it off, get that shape back. Found another dent here, another dent here. I pulled a dent here and here already. But we went ahead and sanded all this. we're going to pop that hole back out because I'm going to put this trim back. Kind of funny, that's where those two dents are. It's right there where that trim is. So we're gonna go ahead and, we already sanded it all with 80 grit. We're gonna weld these up because I'm not gonna put the drip rail back on it. We're gonna go ahead and pull these. I'm gonna pull the back window also. I've never pulled one of these, but everywhere and everyone I've talked to said to pull the lock ring out, so that's what I did. And then you should just be able to push on it and it fall out. That's not the case here. Take a razor blade and cut this lip off here all the way around, and hopefully this window will fall out. I'm not saving it, it's chipped and there's splatter on it from the previous owner and all sorts of stuff, so we're just taking it out. Hopefully that allows it to come out. Just like that. See, that worked out pretty well. Hopefully there's no rot under any of this trim here. Oh, we got a little over here in this corner. That's no big deal. We can fix that up. Other than that, we're good. Well, time for some body filler. I just use this stuff, U-Pull Fantastic Body Filler. Honestly, I've never had an issue with it. I like the way it sands. My only complaint is it's a little thick, but that honestly might be because I leave it in my garage all the time. We're gonna pop this open. Look at our board. Oop. We're just gonna get a little bit. That was a lot of it. Oops. Always get half the amount you think you need. I'm just saying that from experience. This might be fine as long as we don't put too much hardener in it. I have a really bad habit of putting too much hardener. Squirt. But it's also cool out tonight, so. Body filler hardens depending on how hot it gets. So if you leave it in a ball, it hardens quicker because it gets hotter. Try not to leave a whole bunch of excess on the corners. We don't need a whole lot for this, for these two areas. Smidge of hardener in there. Now that we have all that skim coated, we'll let it dry. There's a spot back here I got to redo. The filler started to tack up too much to do back there. We'll sand all this down, block it down, get it all smooth, and then just make sure we have all of our low spots pulled out and filled and everything else. Like I said, we are probably going to work on pulling this front windshield right now. Just so that way it's out of our way, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime, when I get this side done, I'm going to prime it, and then I'll prime it all the way up to probably right here, and then right here, just so that way this side's not sitting exposed bare metal in the elements. My garage isn't heated or cooled, so moisture does build up in here. So we're probably going to do like what we did with the back windshield, or back window. We're going to pull the lock out of it, and then we're just going to cut along it, and hopefully it just pulls out. see if I can get it just to fall out. I didn't think it through. Needs 2 people. Just kidding. Can be done with 1. Let's inspect our windshield lip. It's not bad. This corner here needs a little work, but that's okay. Looks like somebody put silicone around it. Or a windshield adhesive. There's a little spot over here and right here. Wishy-washy, wishy-washy, wishy-washy. Once we get done with the body work on both sides, we're gonna focus on the roof. There's a nasty dent right there I gotta fix. A few little dents and dings right through here. And same goes for the other side. And then once both sides are done, we're gonna strip this floor, put some coating on it. That we'll leave alone until we go to paint. And then I gotta figure out what to do with those. There's surface rust, they're not all the way through. I've tried poking them. So I don't know what I'm gonna do there yet.